Some technical difficulties, Maulana, just inshallah a few moments.
Sure.
Okay, so Maulana, the question here. So in the followership course, the idea of using the blessings to receive more, the idea of gratitude, seems to be also very similar to the idea of tawakkul. Is this close relationship of gratitude and tawakkul something that is commonly seen in all aspects of Islam?
I'd like to hear more about the connection that is in the mind of this brother or sister. But in general, all these virtues are like different branches of the same tree, and they have the same roots. If you have those roots, all of this come. This is why in Akhlaq series in the Hose, I said my idea is that instead of thinking that we have, 20, 30, 40 virtues, maybe we can find the most fundamental and underlying ones that would bring others. And my idea was that truthfulness is the one that brings others. Shukr goes back to this, tawakkul goes back to this. In any case, someone who is shakir, he has great chance for tawakkul because he knows and he acknowledges that Allah has helped him a lot, blessed him a lot in the cases that he didn't deserve necessarily. And therefore, he has no reason why not to trust. We have in the Quran this beautiful ayah, وَمَا لَنَا أَلَّا نَتَوَكَّلَ عَلَى اللَّهِ وَقَدْ هَدَانَا سُبُلَنَا. The people who were believers among Bani Israel, they said, why we shouldn't put our trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And He has guided us to our path. وَلَنَصْبِرَنَّ عَلَى مَا آذَيْتُمُونَا. We are going to be patient with respect to the way you try to annoy us. So, a mu'min who is grateful to Allah, it means that he has very a strong conviction that Allah has been always kind and generous, so he can put his trust in Him, especially when he offers. And he says, عَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَالْمُتَوَكِّلُونَ. So you have to trust Him, and for Shakir, this is easier. But if the person who asked has a special idea about connection, I will be very happy to also hear.
Jazakumullah khair, Shaykhna.
May Allah bless you.
Another question came relating to today's topic.
Okay, it's very fresh.
Yes, it's very fresh. So fresh off the oven here.
Yes.
It's a little bit long, so bear with me.
Okay.
It begins, sometimes waswasa is born out of belief that eating a piece of haram or being touched by najis or carrying najis has a real spiritual effect.
Mm-hmm.
Some scholars say the main issue is obedience. Others warn about the spiritual effect of, let's say, haram food extensively.
Yeah. Very good question.
And themselves are very fearful. What is the relationship between the realities and us merely obeying fiqh?
Mm-hmm. Very good question.
There's a follow-up example, if you allow me.
Yes.
It says, for example, in the issue of animal hair, like a cat or rabbit, in salah, is it a matter of changing realities or obedience? For instance, Sayyid Sistani permits 2 to 3 hairs, and we assume it means doing our best to remove those hairs or wear new clothes. But we also know that in reality, no matter how much one tries, it is not something that is 100% controllable. Everyone who has pets knows that. So the obedience is there, but there is a fear that in reality all prayers are affected for the duration of the pet's life. Where's the border here between normal attitude and waswasa?
Mhm. When it comes to tahara najasa, it seems that there is no a spiritual impact for an unknown najasa. Okay, I repeat. An unknown najasa has no spiritual impact, or if it has, it's next to zero. It means you can ignore it. But if it is obvious najas, for example, like blood or things like this, that's different. But something that you don't know, it means that there is no ain, there is no material of najas. Maybe it's water that touched with najas or whatever. You don't know. But when it comes to eating najas food, especially again, not najas in the sense that, for example, someone was not careful and his hand was not washed, cleaned, I mean about health, not hygienic. I mean about tahara najasa. No, for example, it is pig. It is meat which is not slaughtered. These type of things have impact, but the impact is not that big which can be compared to committing sins. So be careful when it comes to this, like food. Not tahara najasa of the rest or body or whatever that much. That is according to fiqh. When it comes to food, be more careful, more than what fiqh requires. Not to go to any shop or buy from any person unless it is, for example, vegetarian or whatever. But if there is impact, you buy from a Muslim, and according to fiqh, it's okay. But in reality, it was not okay. There can be impact, but this impact is not equal to even one sin, even one minor sin. So, if you are going to put too much energy to make sure that you don't do something that in the knowledge of Allah might be haram, and then you do haram which are obvious, every person knows lying is haram, backbiting is haram, not paying your, homes is haram. This is not then wise. So sometimes I say like this, I say, our heart gets affected by haram, gets affected by shubuhat, like a food which is haram but you don't know, gets affected by lack of remembrance of Allah. So different things have bad impact on your heart, but they are not the same. So you have to prioritize. For a person who doesn't do any haram, then these things can also become very important, because he's so pure that even eating one food which was not halal in reality can make him sense there is no good connection, because he's so pure and so sensitive. But for other people who say lies and do ghaiba and this and that, these things are not that much effective. So we have to prioritize. Do what fiqh requires. When it comes to food, be more careful, but not too much, unless you make sure that you do your wajibat, everything. And then if you have extra energy and time, okay. Then with respect to your food, also try to always eat at home or eat in the house of mu'mineen and not outside. But to do some ihtiyat is good, but not too much that makes your life miserable, because this is not haram and the impact is also not that much that you give too much attention to it. I hope what I said was clear. If not, I can repeat maybe.
جزاكم الله خير شيخنا. Maybe I'm having waswasa about that. So you guys can
okay, so we should not repeat.
Answering the question 5 times. No, that was beautifully put, Sheikhna. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And inshallah, just in the interest of time, we can perhaps proceed to the.
Greetings.
Do you have time for salams with the greetings?